Hello, my fellow customers, homeowners, friends, family. The foreclosure relief program has been told that it's riddled with flaws. The latest effort to save homes having only limited impact and faces challenges. Millions of Americans who are struggling to save their homes from foreclosure are trapped in a labyrinth of disappointment and misinformation created by the very institutions they've been told are trying to help them. 10 months into the government, the third program in 2 years to stop a record wave of foreclosures, homeowners, housing counselors, consumer advocates, and attorneys working with borrowers report that the latest effort is failing far short of its goal. In many cases, lenders are moving to foreclose even after homeowners get approved for loan modification. Housing counselors and attorneys say the problem, they say, goes beyond the paperwork snaffles and staffing shortages at lenders and mortgage servicers that have created massive bottlenecks for the millions at risk of losing their homes. Those have plagued the government's foreclosure relief efforts since the first government industry joint program. The Hope Now Alliance was launched in October of 2009. Homeowners face numerous hurdles trying to get their mortgage modified. Now, in some cases, applications are rejected with little or no explanation. It's impossible to independently verify if a homeowner qualifies because the Treasury has not disclosed the eligibility formula used by lenders. A complex set of calculations that housing counselors and consumer attorneys have dubbed the black box. Housing attorneys report that some lenders are ignoring the program guidelines altogether and moving to foreclose without properly reviewing mortgages for possible modification. It's been a stubborn challenge, said a Treasury official who agreed to an interview but requested anonymity. But this is something that's never been done before. So the guidelines were ignored. Many of the urgent problems that the government's $75 billion Home Affordable Modification Program, or HAMP, are systematic. They can be traced to its basic guidelines for lenders and mortgage servicers. The companies tasked with collecting payments from homeowners and forwarding them to the investors holding a homeowner's mortgage. Launched last March as part of the Making Home Affordable initiative, HAMP was the Obama administration's flagship program to halt a wave of foreclosures that two previous governments' efforts, the Hope Now Alliance and Hope for Homeowners, had failed to slow. In return for signing on to the program, lenders and mortgage servicers who agree to follow standard loan modification guidelines are paid a taxpayer-funded bounty of up to $4,000 for each loan they modify. Homeowners begin with a trial modification that is supposed to be made permanent if they keep up with payments for 6 months. The HAMP guidelines call on lenders to try to modify every mortgage before moving to foreclosure, but that's not what's happening. According to a survey of more than 100 housing attorneys by the National Association of Consumer Advocates, now 90% of the attorneys surveyed said that mortgage servicer had attempted to proceed with a foreclosure sale without a proper HAMP review. Now, this was said by a NACA associate who conducted the survey. Now, nearly half the housing attorneys said they have represented 10 or more households who had faced a foreclosure without proper loan review. 14% said they have represented 50 or more households in that situation. So far, the HAMP program hasn't slowed a record pace of foreclosures. Some 2.8 million households were threatened with foreclosure last year. According to Realty Track, a website that tracks foreclosures filing nationwide. Now, the company estimates the figure could rise to 3.5 million this year as payment reset on a wave of pay option adjustable rate mortgages. So borrowers have more to pay on homes that are worth less. Frustrated by the lack of progress with loan modifications, some homeowners are giving up and choosing strategic default, simply walking away from their homes. Those defaults and the ongoing wave of foreclosures will continue to weigh on the housing market, holding back the nascent economy recovery. Saving the home from foreclosure can be as simple as rewriting a costly high-rate subprime loan to prevailing mortgage market rates. If that doesn't bring the payment to within roughly 31% of homeowners' monthly income, which are part of the HAMP guidelines, because their guidelines require mortgage servicers to follow a step-by-step process to cut mortgage payments further. First, they can write down the interest rate as low as 2% and then stretch the term of the loan to 40 years. If that doesn't work, lenders can cut the amount of principal owed. But cutting principal is entirely voluntarily, and most lenders or servicers aren't doing so. So housing counselors and attorneys say, I don't think it's common at all. Vice President of National Grant said, for the National Foundation of Credit Counseling, when we ask our counselors, they never seem to see them, or very, very rarely. More confused than ever, even if homeowners who get a trial modification and make each new payments on time can still lose their home. The foreclosure and loan modification proceed of two separate tracks, said Diane Thompson, an attorney with the National Consumer Law Center, who recently wrote a report on financial incentive that often encourage mortgage servicers to foreclose. If you allow the foreclosure process to continue, you're going to end up with foreclosure sales because there are not good communication between those two divisions and servicers. That's what happened to Courtney Scott, a retired nurse living in an Atlanta suburb, who has spent the last 2 years trying to get Bank of America to modify her loan. A week before Christmas, she got a letter saying that her mortgage was going to foreclose. Even though the bank hadn't reviewed her application for a loan modification, desperate to save her home, along with her substantial down payment and the equity she's accumulated by making repairs, Scott says she spent several hours on the phone trying to get through to the bank representatives. When she finally reached them, they were unable to find her application. They told her that she would have to resubmit it, which she did. So she was thrilled when the good news arrived via email in January. Now, your loan modification has been approved. The email sent asserting that a full package of documents was in the mail and that a workout negotiator would soon be in touch by phone. This will be a great end to what has been an unnecessary drawn-out story, she told MSNBC. But Scott's joy was short-lived. On January 12th, she got a call from the bank rep who told her that she didn't qualify for a new loan after all. A follow-up email confirmed the bad news. I am more confused than ever, said Scott. A Bank of America rep declined to comment, citing privacy loss, but said that she will look into Scott's case. Now, the communications breakdown is more likely when foreclosures are handled by outside attorneys hired by a loan servicer, say housing counselors. If the lender or servicer doesn't take the extra steps required to stop the clock on a foreclosure proceeding, it can easily overtake the process of modifying the loan, they say. And now, the foreclosure process carries a momentum of its own, said Thompson. Some of it happens more or less automatically once you start scheduling things. Once a sale is scheduled, someone has to actively intervene to stop the sale. And the current guidance from Treasury allows a foreclosure sale to be scheduled even if someone is making current payments under trial mod. The Treasury official said that guideline is under review. Now, we certainly hear the issue and want to make sure that the HEMP guidelines on the foreclosure prevents anyone's home from going to sale. The Treasury official said, we are looking at guidance to make sure the communication is clear.